Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here. My name is Ali Hassan. I'm an international TV presenter and journalist, and together with Haizam Amira Fernandez from the Elcano Royal Institute, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this very pertinent, very important and timely session. Qatar has solidified its role in international diplomacy through a primarily mediation-oriented foreign policy over the years. So certainly no shortage of topics to be discussed here within the next 30 minutes. I couldn't be more delighted to be joined now virtually from Doha by the Qatari Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. Great to have you with us, Foreign Minister. Thanks for joining us from Doha.
Thank you very much, Ali, for hosting me today. I'm really happy to join
hello, everybody. Hello, Minister. Let's go directly to the first question. There's a general sense that crises in the MENA region seem to keep intensifying. How can we bring stability to the Middle East and the Maghreb region?
Well, it's unfortunate to hear this headline always about the Middle East and MENA region, that the crisis is always intensifying. We know that we have a lot of problems and a lot of crises around us, but we believe that the potential in the MENA region is much bigger than what we have right now. In order to overcome these type of crises and stabilize the region, I think we need to intensify our efforts in dialogue and engagement and in addressing the root causes of these crises, which are mainly social and economic roots. So Qatar is trying to play its role within the region and beyond that by introducing Qatar as a platform for dialogue and engagement between different adversaries, and also to extend our help and support to other countries in the region by providing with better opportunities, especially for the youth in our region.
Foreign Minister, your mediation-oriented foreign policy is particularly evident and can be seen quite clearly in Afghanistan, of course, which remains a top priority for your country. You have managed to evacuate about 50,000 Afghans and foreigners from Afghanistan following the Taliban takeover in Kabul in mid-August. What do you expect moving forward? What are the ongoing developments in Afghanistan? And most importantly, what role can your country play in the future of Afghanistan?
Well, first of all, we were honored to host either the dialogue between the US and Taliban, and that put an end for the war over there, and also the inter-Afghan dialogue in the past few years. And unfortunately, with the situation after Taliban entering Kabul and what we have seen as a collapse of the previous government without a clear path for the way forward or an agreement between them and the Taliban, has led us to this chaos which Afghanistan went through in the past few months. Qatar also was honored to help and support our allies and our partners in Europe and the United States in helping them with the evacuation operation. Qatar has rescued more than 70,000 from Afghanistan in the past few months, and our evacuation flights are continuing in a close cooperation with our allies in Europe and the United States. For the way forward on Afghanistan, Ali, I think the main challenge right now in Afghanistan that there is an absence of clarity in the way to deal with Afghanistan after Taliban takeover in August. And we see that there is no yet a clear strategy by the international community that adopted by the Security Council or by the United Nations that will be the way to deal with the current situation in Afghanistan, whether from a humanitarian perspective or from economic or political and security perspective. So what we are trying to do is engaging with all the stakeholders, with all the countries, with Taliban, with the neighboring countries, with the members, permanent members of the Security Council, as well as with some of regional countries which are connected in a way with Afghanistan, trying to create a sort of understanding that put this blueprint for the way to deal with Afghanistan in the future. I think that all of us, we need to agree, first of all, that humanitarian assistance and humanitarian support for the Afghan people should not be politicized, nor to be linked to any political progress, because it also will be unfair to punish the Afghan people because of Taliban takeover. Second, I think that also the political and the security situation over there is a growing concern by the neighboring countries, also by other countries in the region, of the growing threat from ISIS-K or any terrorist organization to find this fertile ground over there after what happened in August. And I think that this going along with the economic sanctions and the freezing of the accounts and the current de facto government right now in Kabul are not able to pay their own people and to support their own people. This will lead to an economic crisis, which might also be a fuel for those terrorist organizations to recruit more, or to use Afghanistan as a launching pad for their attacks. So that's why we are trying to urge all our partners in the international community to address this matter in a way that not waiting for the consequences of the fall of Kabul to reach us, but try to deal and to address the cause while it's there in Afghanistan, and helping the Afghan people to remain in their countries, creating for them the better condition over there to be able to live and to prosper in their own country.
Okay, Minister, as you just mentioned, and it's well known, Qatar has been an active mediator between the US and the Taliban. It also is hosting the US diplomatic mission to Afghanistan in Doha. My question is, how will the US withdrawal from Afghanistan and the redefinition of Washington's engagement in the MENA region reflect on relations with Qatar?
Well, of course, US is our most important ally, and we have a very strong strategic relationship with the United States in a lot of areas, whether it's in the regional security and defense and economic partnerships, and a lot of other areas like education, culture, and energy. We believe that the decision which been taken by the US recently, it's based on their own assessment, and we cannot really judge or comment on a decision that made by the US itself. But our perspective, and from our experience with dealing with the US on different matters in the region, we have seen that the US still have a great amount of interest in our region and our regional stability, and their engagement with Qatar on Afghanistan, or also our engagement together on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and some other regional issues. This is, of course, we see it as a demonstration for the US interest in the stability of our region. Our region in the Middle East cannot be neglected, as it's very important for the stability of the world, whether from a security perspective or from economic or energy perspective. So I don't think that there is a losing interest from any of our traditional allies and partners in our region.
Foreign Minister, you already mentioned that the US, of course, remains your staunchest allies, but of course there are other countries who have a stake in the future of Afghanistan. You met with your Russian counterpart Lavrov back in September to discuss Afghanistan. What is the status quo on Qatar-Russian relations, on Qatar-Russian dialogue on Afghanistan? Where do you see commonalities, common goals, and where do you see differences?
Well, of course, Russia is a country with a close proximity to Afghanistan, and whatever will happen there will have an effect on them. And they are very important partner in the stability of Afghanistan. So we keep engaging with Russia and taking their advice on whenever we are facing any difficulties. We are working in collaboration together in different areas, trying to identify what can be the common ground for the international community to work together. And this is similar to our engagement with Europe or with the neighboring countries. And I think whether it's Russia or China or the neighboring countries, they have their own legitimate concerns from any turmoil that can happen in Afghanistan because of the current situation. So we need to address actually their concerns in the way we are thinking forward when it comes to Afghanistan. On the main themes and the main topics, I believe that we are in agreement with Russia, with Europe, with China, on the main line on the humanitarian access and providing humanitarian assistance to the Afghan. Maybe there are differences between Russia and some other countries on the approach, but this is where Qatar trying to play a role in presenting a common ground that everybody can agree on and to move forward for the sake of the Afghan people and helping them.
Minister, we know that perceptions are very important. China and Russia are seen as the main beneficiaries of the US and NATO's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Do you think that the Taliban's rise to power could pave the way for a greater role of both China and Russia, as well as a greater Sino-Russian cooperation and coordination in that country?
Well, as you mentioned that, it's always based on perceptions. Definitely that China and Russia, as I have just mentioned, they have a stake in Afghanistan. They are neighboring countries. They are living in a close proximity. And I think that the situation in Afghanistan needs everybody's help and needs the cooperation of the international community to work together collectively to help to alleviate them. I'm sure that they will have an opportunity to help in rebuilding the infrastructure of Afghanistan and help support the Afghan people, which is Qatar welcoming. And I don't think that any other country is not welcoming such an effort. What we need to create right now is less polarization and making this as a common ground of understanding. We have the same concern as the region, as the neighboring countries, as Europe, as the US. I believe that the threat of terrorism or threat of instability in Afghanistan going to have a dangerous effect on all those countries. And I think this should present an opportunity where all of us, we can come together and work together for the interest of the Afghan people.
Foreign Minister, we've talked about the US, we've talked about Russia, we've talked about China. Let me bring in Turkey here for a second, because as we know, Qatar-Turkey relations are quite strong. Your countries have both strengthened their cooperation and have become very close partners on several issues. How's the cooperation developing on Afghanistan? How's the Qatari-Ankara, the Doha-Ankara relationship cooperating on matters related to Kabul?
Well, of course, throughout the process, we've been coordinating and consulting closely with Turkey. And also, we've been working together very closely on the issue of the airport, whether on the assessment of the requirements to bring back the airport operational, or on the management agreement with the Taliban government to operate the airport in the future. We've been working very closely in partnership between Qatar and Turkey on these fronts. And of course, our consultation is ongoing, whether it's on Afghanistan or on other issues that having an effect either on our security or on their security.
Minister, this is a general question, but let me ask you, what are your country's main priorities and interests in the Gulf and in the broader MENA region? And also, what role can Qatar play in the resolution of long-standing conflicts in the Middle East and the Maghreb? And if you can share with us some concrete examples.
Well, this is a very wide question, actually. So I hope that I will be able to go right to the answer. Our priorities in our region, in the Gulf region mainly, and on the wider region, whether it's in the Middle East or in the northern part of the Gulf, Iran and Western Asian countries, is really bringing security and stability, and that will be the only way for bringing prosperity to the people of the region. Qatar is a small country with a wide network of friendship, and we are trying to utilize this network in a good way in bringing more security and stability to our region. We have no any interest in any country except making it a better place, making it a safer place. That this will be the only way for our people to prosper and grow, and this will open, of course, an opportunity for our economies to grow bigger, and will also enable us to untap the potential that our region has. We have mainly all the resources that needed for the energy or for the energy transition. We have the human resources, the human capital. Because of the number of youth that we have in our region, there is a huge potential, and this potential can be only untapped by resolving these long-standing conflicts and trying to solve these crises and building for a better future. Now, on the issues that vary in the region, from Sudan to Lebanon to Djibouti, Eritrea, Afghanistan, Qatar tried to provide the adversaries with a platform that they are able to come together, to engage in a constructive way, and helping resolving these conflicts peacefully. We have succeeded in several examples. In some other examples, these efforts maybe didn't get the results that we were aiming for, but Qatar will continue. Our leadership, His Highness the Emir, is committed to make our good offices to help the people of our region and to help to support the regional security and stability.
If I may, the follow-up question, Minister. We know that the Arabian Peninsula and the broader Gulf region have been going through a bumpy ride for the past few years. We are now seeing some of your neighbors who didn't talk to each other started talking to each other and establishing new channels of communication and contact. So how do you see that from Doha, and what is your perception and your take on this new dynamic?
That's an excellent step, and it's very promising, actually. This has been Qatar line since very long time, that we always need to be open. We need to engage with everyone. We need to be open to all the countries in the region and all the parties. This is the only way forward to resolve any issue. We cannot solve a problem by boycotting each other, but we can only solve the problem and building a better future when we are talking to each other. We are very happy seeing these trends of engagement and talks between different countries in the region. We are very happy that this Gulf crisis now is behind us, and we are engaging in steady steps for a better relationship between us and the other countries. We are also watching very closely and trying to help and to support the process that's taking place between the US and Iran, for example, on the nuclear talks. I think this is the only way, this is the only option that we have, the only option that we can afford for the future of our region. Otherwise, this region will be just in unstable mode, which is not going to be helpful neither for us nor for the other countries.
Foreign Minister, we're about to end this session, but before we do, we talked a lot about hard politics, geopolitical concerns and issues to your country. Let me shift gears here for just a second, because in less than 12 months, the entire world's eyes will be on your country when the World Cup 2022 will take place in Qatar, in Doha. Obviously, this comes with an unprecedented deal of attention, but also scrutiny of your country. What benefits do you expect from this event, which is billed as the largest event in the world, really?
Well, Qatar is honored to be the showcase for the Middle East region, which is unfortunately been projected for a long time, that it's a place of conflicts, place of crisis, that we are going to show the world, and we will have the opportunity to show millions of people around the world that the Middle East has countries that are progressive, that are open, that are modern, and welcoming the whole world in it. And I think this is a great opportunity to welcome all the world together and unite them together under this, under the auspices of this beautiful game. I think this will be the greatest opportunity for us next year in the World Cup, showing the world that the Middle East is a place of prosperity, is a place of huge potential that we need all to work all together to untap this potential. Of course, we had, while we are talking in these weeks, we are hosting also the Arab Cup, which is relatively a smaller version of the World Cup, where we brought all the Arab countries together and united them around this football, and the people are very happy that there is something is uniting them. And I think the best way to unite people is either with sports or with music, and this is our tool for 2022 as we hope to unite the Arabs during the Arab Cup. We hope that we can unite the world for a better future for all of us, for our people and for our children in 2022.
Minister, we still have a few minutes left. We are sitting here in Rome. Unfortunately, this time you haven't been able to join us because of the situation that we're going through. But let me ask you about the immediate neighborhood. If we look from Rome to the south, that is the closer Mediterranean and the North African shore and the Maghreb. How do you see the situation there and Qatar's role in the Maghreb? And in your opinion, what needs to happen from now until next edition of Rome Med to call it a good year for the Mediterranean and the broader MENA region?
Well, actually, we've been watching the development of the situation in the Maghreb region, and we hope that, whether it's an internal issues, an internal crisis to be resolved in, through dialogue and through an understanding among all the stakeholders within those countries, and also the differences and the disagreements that we see between brotherly countries also to be resolved through dialogue, and we see signs of de-escalation in the near future. Qatar, of course, going to offer its help when it's asked. So we cannot start to help and to facilitate for talks between countries or between political adversaries in the same country unless we are accepted by all parties or we are invited by all parties. And I think that what we are trying to do, for example, right now in Libya, is to encourage the political process to move ahead and to have a safe environment for the election, and then for the election to take place in a way that we have a peaceful transition in Libya, ending this division that took a very long time until now. I hope by mid next year, first of all, that we hope that the COVID is over and all of us, we are able to come and to participate there in Rome and to meet with each other. And we hope that most of the issues, or all of the issues actually, cross the mid in the Arab region that are moving in a positive and good progress. We hope to see a stable government in Libya. We hope to see a united forces over there and a stable Libya. We hope to see a stable Tunisia and economic growth over there. We hope to see a new chapter of relationship between Algeria and Morocco. So I think that given the nature of all these crises, we have a tremendous opportunity to have a lot of good news next year.
Yeah, Foreign Minister, indeed, I think I can echo your wishes and your desire to meet back here in person in Rome on stage and not just virtually, of course. But thank you so much for your time, for laying out the many aspects and challenges of Qatari foreign policy moving ahead. All the best to you, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, joining us from Doha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.